Welcome to today's video. If you've ever felt confused, intimidated, or even overwhelmed by the world of investing, you are not alone. Many people believe that investing is something only for experts on Wall Street, or for people who already have large sums of money to play with. But Andrew Tobias, the author of The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need, argues the opposite. He shows us that anyone, regardless of income, age, or financial background, can start building wealth with a few simple principles. This book has stood the test of time for one reason. It strips investing down to the basics. No unnecessary jargon. No complex equations. Just practical advice that works in the real world. Today, in part 1 of our series, we're going to focus on the foundation of the book. The mindset you need to succeed financially. Because before you think about stocks, funds, or real estate, you need to build the habits and perspective that will allow you to grow your wealth consistently. Let's begin with one of Tobias's main points. Wealth is built from discipline, not luck. We often hear stories about people who struck it rich with a hot stock, a lucky trade, or even winning the lottery. But Tobias makes it clear, those stories are the exception, not the rule. Real wealth is rarely about one big lucky moment. It's about making smart decisions, day after day, and allowing time to do its magic. Think of money like seeds. If you plant them, take care of them, and wait. Eventually, you will have a forest. But if you eat all your seeds today, you'll never see that growth. This is the central idea behind Tobias's advice. No matter how much or how little you earn, the key is to put some of it aside and invest it for your future. Another important mindset shift he talks about is this: you don't need a lot to get started. Many people postpone investing because they feel they need thousands of dollars before it makes sense. But Tobias argues that even small amounts, invested consistently, can turn into something significant over time. For example, imagine you save just $5 a day. That's the price of a coffee and a snack. Over a month, that's about $150. Over a year, it's more than $1,800. Now imagine investing that amount every year for 20 or 30 years in a low-cost index fund that grows at an average of 7% per year. By the end of that period, you would have tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even over 100,000, just from those small daily savings. That's the power of starting small, and it's one of the main themes of Tobias's book. Start where you are, with what you have, and let compounding do the work. But to make this possible, you need to take control of your spending. Tobias doesn't tell you to live like a monk or to never enjoy life. But he does warn against lifestyle inflation, the habit of increasing your spending every time your income goes up. If every raise you get immediately turns into a bigger car payment, a bigger apartment, or more luxury items, then you'll never actually build wealth. Instead, he suggests keeping your expenses modest, even as your income grows, so that you can save and invest the difference. This doesn't mean depriving yourself. It means being intentional, spend on what really brings you happiness, and cut back on what doesn't. That way, you're not sacrificing joy, you're just redirecting your money toward things that actually matter, both today and in the future. Another key mindset lesson from Tobias is about debt. He is very clear. High-interest debt is the enemy of financial growth. If you are paying 15, 18, or even 20% interest on credit cards, there is almost no investment in the world that can overcome that burden. That's why he suggests that before you think about investing in the stock market, you first eliminate high-interest debt. Think of it this way: paying off a debt that charges you 18% interest is the same as earning an 18% return on your money. Guaranteed. And that's something even the best investors in the world would love to achieve consistently. So step 1 is always this: free yourself from the chains of toxic debt. Once you've done that, your money is no longer leaking out, and you can redirect it toward building wealth. Tobias also emphasizes the importance of financial awareness. This doesn't mean you have to track every penny or become obsessed with spreadsheets, but it does mean paying attention, knowing where your money is going each month, understanding your spending patterns, and being honest with yourself about what's essential and what's just habit. He points out that most people don't actually have a clear picture of their finances. They know their income, they know roughly how much rent or bills cost, but they don't know the details. And as the saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. By simply becoming aware of your money, you gain control over it. Another valuable perspective from Tobias is about financial independence. He explains that money, at its core, isn't about greed or luxury. It's about freedom. Freedom to make choices, freedom to take risks, freedom to live life on your own terms. When you build a strong financial foundation, you are not just collecting numbers in a bank account. You're buying back your time and your options. Think about it. A person with savings and investments can leave a job they hate, take time off to travel, start a business, or help their family when needed. A person living paycheck to paycheck with no safety net doesn't have those choices. That's why Tobias insists that financial discipline isn't about being cheap. It's about creating freedom. Now, all of this might sound simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. The biggest challenge most people face is consistency. It's easy to say, "I'll save money," or "I'll invest for the future." But it's hard to actually follow through month after month, especially when temptations and emergencies come up. That's why Tobias recommends automating your savings and investments. When you set up automatic transfers, like moving money into a savings account or an investment fund as soon as you get paid, you remove the need for willpower. The decision is already made, and your future is taken care of before you even start spending. To wrap up this first part, let's recap the core lessons from the opening of The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need. Wealth is built from habits, not luck. Start small. Every dollar counts when invested wisely. Live below your means and avoid lifestyle inflation. Eliminate high-interest debt before investing. Pay attention to your finances. What you measure, you can manage. And most importantly, remember that money is a tool for freedom, not just a number. This is the foundation of Tobias's message. In the next parts of this series, we'll explore how to save and budget like an investor, how to build a simple but powerful investment strategy, and finally, how to create long-term financial freedom. So if you're ready to take control of your money, start with these principles. They are simple, they are practical, and most importantly, they work. Thank you for joining me in this first part of the series. Make sure to subscribe, because in the next video, we'll break down Andrew Tobias's advice on saving and budgeting, the critical step that makes investing possible.